And we are live. This is Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Trading, Carter Cow Capital. Trade with Travis on YouTube and Carter Cow Trading on Instagram. Hope everybody's doing very well. This is our trade recap for today. If you look at the overall board, I actually ended up creating that a little bit earlier, but my best day pretty much yet when it came down to overall trading, $2,200. And quite frankly, I felt like I left a little bit off the table, but I ended up doing very well when it came down to that. Would love to be able to show you how I end up doing it and how I can be able to help you out for being able to get situated in our next five-day Forex Believe boot camp, which is going to end up starting on September the 28th. Through October 2nd. So I'm going to go through a disclaimer. If you have been trading with us or you have been watching these live videos, obviously you know I have to go through that. But let's go ahead and get started with it. So I'm not a CPA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Understand that Forex involves risk and involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So showing myself on the screen, hopefully everybody's doing very well. Hopefully you end up having a great day. Obviously, if you don't know who I am, my name is Travis Witherspoon. I am the owner of Carter Cow Capital. And quite frankly, I've been on YouTube, on Facebook, basically doing live streams pretty much every day since the pandemic ended up starting. It's been a long time being going from there. I'm a Forex trading specialist. I've been trading for the last 5 years, and quite frankly, I help a lot of people and mentor a lot of people when it comes down to Forex trading. And quite frankly, I love being able to spread the word of how to be able to Forex trade. Obviously, there's a lot of people that end up doing it very well when it comes down to online sites, YouTube, and everything else like that. I have my own set and style of rules and strategies and everything else that I end up doing that is set up for my business, is set up for my students to be able to teach. But love being able to put out some free information. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into how I end up making over $2,200 today when it came down to overall trading. So first off, once again, I want to invite each and every person out to our 5-day Forex bootcamp class. I believe bootcamp is going to go from September 28th to October 2nd. It's literally an hour long each session to be able to understand and learn how to be able to trade. One of my favorite sessions to be able to do each and every month, quite frankly, because it doesn't matter if you're a new Forex trader or a person that's looking for an edge. Everyone wants to be able to learn and be able to gain mentorship, and that's what we do here. So that would hopefully help somebody else out. Now, for the people that are live, do me a favor. Please make sure to just smash that like button, because that's the only way that I can be able to know who you are, because obviously Facebook ended up changing it to where I couldn't see who's actually on here. Same thing with YouTube. If you will hit it or type in something in the chat box so I can be able to know who you are, so I can make sure that I end up talking to you. I do appreciate hopping in from there. Henry, thanks for the like. Andrew, thanks for the like. Reggie, thanks for the like. I do appreciate each and every one of y'all's love when it comes down to that. Now, let's hop into it. I'm going to show you the trades that we end up taking, and quite frankly, this is another feat for me when it comes down to a lot of things. Actually, we finally just got over $10,000 when it comes down to the trading account. Now, I want you to understand this. I started this account with $500 at the beginning of the year, and we're talking about, this is August right now, and we turned it into $10,000. I'm going to have a dedicated video on how I end up doing that, but quite frankly, it's been a long, hard path to be able to do it. There's been a lot of ups, been a lot of downs, been a lot of losses, been a lot of wins, but overall kept on trading each and every day. Quite frankly, when you stay consistent, when you do a trading style and you know how to be able to do it over and over again, then after that you can be able to go from there. So I'm going to focus in on 3 trades that we end up taking. I'm going to focus in on the US Canadian dollar, I'm going to focus in on the US Swiss franc, and I'm going to focus in on the Australian dollar. As my son's running in the background from there. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is the Australian dollar, United States dollar, because that was our biggest trade. Quite frankly, ended up bringing in almost $1,300 when it came down to this move by itself. And quite frankly, I still think that it has a potential of over $6,200 if you're trading off of standard lots to be able to go after. So we're still going through and still taking a look at how to be able to get to that overall point. But I do want to show you what we end up doing. So if you look at the daily, and I'm just going to focus in on it I'm just going to focus in on the daily. The weekly was already broken to a downside move, and the daily was going through a overall downside move as well, and it's in a state of transition. What I mean by state of transition, it meant that a lot of people were buying it. It got to be over exhausted, so people weren't buying it anymore because it was basically at a high price. Because it's at a high price, people are starting to look at selling it, and people that were buying are taking profit. So when that transition happens, typically you end up seeing a big push to the downside, and that's what we end up getting. You look at this counter trend line break that we end up having. We end up trading this counter trend line break right here based off of the 15-minute. We actually end up catching this trade right around 3 o'clock in the morning. Typically, I'm a trader that ends up trading right around 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning. I like to be able to go through that time. The reason why I do that, one, because there's more volatility in the market, and two, because my kids are asleep, so it makes it a little bit easier to be able to do it that way. But we looked at this counter trend line break that ended up happening right now. My thought process was that as long as this market does not break over the high of 73.55 and stays within this overall ABCD swing that ended up happening in between this portion right here, then we had an opportunity to be able to sell it down. End up catching that trade. End up catching that trade right around 73.19, which was right up here, and then after that, it just shot like a rocket to the downside. It did exactly what we thought we was going to end up doing. Now, overall, when we're trading this overall move, I look at trading moves that's going to end up allowing me to be in the move for more than 7 to 11 days. The reason why I do that is because I'm a teacher, I'm a father, obviously I'm a trader, and quite frankly, I don't have that much time to be able to stay and be on the charts all day. So by being able to find a position that allows me to get in and stay in for a little bit allows me to be able to make this move. But because this market has actually been so much bullish, I was actually kind of hesitant, and I was trying to look at certain positions to be able to get out at while I was actually moving on. So I went to 2-hour moves and started trading it based off of the 2-hour fibs. If you do not know what fibs are, obviously hop inside of, I believe, Bootcamp. Once again, there will be some information at the end of the video so you can be able to watch that. From here, what ended up happening was the market ended up breaking up to the 8.6 level, which is a deep retracement, and then after that, ended up breaking down to the D extension from there. I ended up taking profit on this move right when it ended up hitting right around 72.24. From that move, that was about 1,000 pips based off of that overall move from there. I mean, 100 pips based off of that move, 100 pips at $10 a pip. Basically ended up turning into $1,000 based off of the move. So very happy about that overall swing. Caught the counter trend line break that we were looking for, and got the overall push that we was looking for on the first trade to the downside. So we end up getting this swing down to right here, which was that 115 pip move. Then after that, earlier this morning, we end up having some economic news that ended up happening. I ended up seeing that this market was starting to consolidate around this area. And from that consolidation, we end up saying, okay, well, if the market ends up breaking this point of control at 72.24 and stays below that after the news is over with, then we have a chance of being able to stay in this trade and be able to make a profit off of that one. That trade that we end up getting was 31 pips. We end up getting it at 72.02 when this market ended up breaking this counter trend line break on the 15-minute chart. So I'm going to show you an arrow and show you how I end up trading it from there. So you go to the 15-minute. From that 15-minute trade, we're seeing that this market was hovering around this overall area, right around 72.24, which was a point of control, and we knew that, quite frankly, that this market wasn't breaking above. It had about 10 separate times that it was going to end up resisting above this number, and there was more downside pressure on this movement from there. So once we end up getting this counter trend line break right here, let me show you. Once we end up getting a counter trend line break to the downside right here, that was our trade that we end up taking to the downside. Ended up getting 31 pips out of this overall move. Was a little bit hesitant on it. Got out right around 71. Got around 71.71. The market ended up going down to 71.50. We thought it was going to move down to 71.50, but typically after 10:30, that 10:30, 11 o'clock time, then it's kind of tough to be able to stay in a trade like this because once again, there's a lot of people that are going to lunch. There's a little bit of volatility, well, there's less volatility during the move. So I would rather get in and get what I can and then move on from there. But that turns into a $311 trade. So on this move, $1,300 based off of this move today. Felt pretty good about this one. Let's go to the U.S. Canadian dollar. U.S. Canadian dollar, we actually ended up getting in on this one on Sunday for this move. What we ended up noticing was that this market has been bearish for a while. And we end up having this huge push to the downside. From that huge push to the downside, then after that, we end up seeing this counter trend line break right here. Now, this counter trend line break that we end up getting right here was a breakout and a retest move that we were paying attention to. As soon as this market ended up breaking out in this area, we were able to get in right around the point of control, 1.3182. We was able to get in when the market ended up going and basically touching these overall lows at 1.3070. And we end up getting in at, let me see, I'm saying it right. Let's cap. We end up getting in at 1.3191, 1.3161, and 1.3195. We wanted to stay inside of that area, keep it below 132. We felt like it was going to end up giving us a good push to be able to go from there. Obviously, we still think that this market has a little bit of movement, but the problem that we ended up facing on this one was that the market ended up hitting the D extension at 1.3264. I felt like this market had a little bit more room up to the 1.3380 area, but because the market has hit a D extension and because we're a little bit overextended on this move, I felt like it would probably be best to go ahead and take profit on this move as of yet. That was a good move because we ended up getting this huge indecision candlestick and the market has moved down since then. So overall, end up making on this move about $600 based off of that movement, which was a very good push off of this overall break. We ended up catching it based off of a 2-hour counter trend line break, which was right here and right there. So all we ended up doing was wait till the market end up pushing up to the sell zone. Then after that, let it fall back. We know that we want to take all of our trades below this point of control at 1.3182. From there, as soon as the market ended up breaking above this overall line, we end up placing in our buys. The best part about it was that we was catching it inside of the buy zone. When the market is in the buy zone, you give yourself a little bit more time to be able to stay in this trade and be able to ride it for a little bit longer. From there, we end up having another trade where the market ended up pushing up for us, gave us a little bit of rejection like it did again, and then after that we had that break right there. We ended up buying it again from that point. Then after that the market ended up skyrocketing. Once we start seeing a little bit of consolidation, we end up getting out of the pair and basically just took profit from there. So overall, right around $600 off of that move. Very happy when it came down to that move. Last one that we ended up getting into with the US Swiss franc. And while I'm talking about this, I still believe that all of these pairs have some extra upside movement. To give you an example, I'm looking at the U.S. Swiss franc right now, and I believe that this market can be able to go up to 9,300. Currently, the market is at 91.98. Once the market ends up going past 92, there's really no resistance from this overall move. So it still is some upside movement from this particular point. So I just want everybody to be able to understand that these trades are just not done just because I end up taking profit today. So U.S. Swiss franc market ended up giving that same move just like the U.S. CAD and ended up breaking out of this overall position. Once it ends up breaking out, then after that you find a retest. We end up catching it right when the market ended up retesting, breaking a counter trend line break to the upside. If you notice, we did all three of them the same way, and it's very simple and repeatable when it comes down to being able to make a trade. From that overall move to the upside, we end up buying everything below the 96 area, and then after that, allowing the market to be able to push up toward that upside area from there. Since then, the market ended up pushing up. We end up getting all of our trades and getting out right around the 91.80 area. If you look at it, the three trades that we ended up cashing out on when it came down to this one was 61 pips, 72 pips, and 98 pips. All for about, say, 167, 160. Oh, so that doing all that. Calculated. 167 plus 107 plus 78. Was 352 and lost on the last trade when we was trying to trade it up, but we only lost 1 pip, so I was actually good about that. So overall, that was our trading day for today. Very excited to be able to see how this market is going to end up moving. if you are interested in being able to trade this, obviously we have our time. We do live streams each and every morning at 7 a.m. to 7:30. I know that's early, but quite frankly, if you're not trading, that's my son yells. If you're not trading at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., then quite frankly, I think you're missing most of the volatility. So you have to trade when everybody else is trading to be able to make the money that you want to be able to make the money that you want to be able to trade with. But remember, the market is 24/5, so quite frankly, there is a time for anyone to be able to trade. If we go past and we take a look at what's going on with the U.S., we take a look at and see what's going on with the U.S. dollar. This market has hit the 382, so this market is in a healthy position, and there's a D extension that's expected to be at 12,174. So there's still some upside movement if you have not traded this as well. So make sure you hop in with us in our sessions. If you are interested in being able to learn how to be able to trade like us, once again, it is a very simple, no nonsense type of trading that we end up doing. And all you have to do is just hop inside of our boot camp a little bit later on. And if you're interested in being able to do that, I'm going to send the links over to everyone right now. It's actually inside of the comment section, but I'm going to end up placing that link in as well. To be able to purchase tickets is bit.ly/Believe Bootcamp. And there we go. Let me copy that over to YouTube. If you're interested in being able to hop in that, just go to that link and be able to hop in. It's basically $15 a day to be able to learn it. Literally, it's basically like a college class to be able to learn everything that you need to learn from there. But like always, if you believe in yourself, change will end up happening, like always. And quite frankly, I'm a living testament to that. We literally built this account from 3 digits up to 5 digits now, and we're not going to stop rolling when it comes down to that. And quite frankly, love being able to help out other people build up their accounts from there. So like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. I see each and every one of y'all in the morning. Take it easy. That was our trade recap.